Hi guys, for today's video I have for you the YouTube made me buy video, or makeup products that YouTube made me buy. I'm so excited to finally be standing here and filming this video. I've been super busy with college and things like that, so I'm sorry I haven't been uploading as frequently, but I'm super excited to be putting this video out for you guys. So YouTube has made me buy a really big chunk of my makeup collection, if not my whole makeup collection, but I really didn't want to go through so many products. I really wanted to narrow it down to those products that I remember watching YouTube when I was like 11 or 12, 6 or 7 years ago, and those products that were like a cult favorite, those products that really stood out to me that everyone loved. Like when I look at them, I'm like, I remember that person using it on YouTube and that's why I wanted it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of these are old favorites, a lot of these are new favorites. Also throughout the video, after explaining what the product is and how I like it, I'm going to let you guys know if it's something that I regret buying or if it's something that I'm so happy that YouTube made me buy. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you want to see the products that YouTube made me buy, just keep watching. Alright guys, so I do have a pretty big chunk of eyeshadow palettes that YouTube made me buy. I don't know, it's just something that eyeshadow palettes, I really loved seeing them put to work and the colors and things like that, and they're just the one thing I've always been so in love with about makeup, and I wanted to collect and try new ones and swatch them and things like that. I'm not going to talk about them in any particular order, I'm kind of just going to grab from my little pile here. The first palette that I grabbed that YouTube definitely influenced me to buy was the Lorac Pro palette. This thing literally blew up on YouTube at one point and it was everyone's holy grail. So this is a 16 color eyeshadow palette. It's just like neutrals. The top 8 are matte and the bottom 8 are shimmer. I think the concept of this eyeshadow palette is so amazing, and I think it's so highly pigmented. As you can see, I hit pan and I'm about to hit pan on a lot of shades because when this was so hyped up on YouTube, I got it and I could not put it down. It is just one of those palettes that are so beautiful, so buttery, so creamy. Very good for neutral looks like a daily basis, but you can also do like a smoky eye. I really love the pigmentation of this palette. By the way, if you want to see my review on any of the palettes I'm talking about, I will have my eyeshadow palette collection linked down below. By the way, that video still gets so much love. It has around like 35,000 views right now, which completely blows my mind. I really didn't think it would be that popular, but if you guys want to see that, I will link it down below to see any of my thoughts. I'm pretty sure I had most of these eyeshadow palettes when I did that. If you want to see swatches and everything like that, that will be down below. But these are just so highly pigmented. They're so buttery, they're so soft. These are probably the most pigmented eyeshadows that I own, but they're not my favorite anymore. When this first came out, this was like literally like the best eyeshadows ever, and I really love them. Again, they're so highly pigmented, they're so buttery and so smooth. Here are just a couple swatches of them on my finger. As you can see, they're so metallic, the shimmers, and then even the mattes are so creamy and buttery. I still do really enjoy this, and I do not regret it by any means, because this was literally my baby and my holy grail palette, but it's just not something that I completely reach for. But I can definitely say that YouTube influenced me to buy this 100%. If YouTube did not influence you to buy a Urban Decay Naked palette, I don't know what rock you're living under, because these were the most hyped up eyeshadow palettes in the history of YouTube and eyeshadow palettes, I swear. Years ago and still today, I will click on anyone's video and they're most likely using a naked palette. More years ago, I feel like now people are kind of shying away from them a little more, but when eyeshadow palettes weren't really a thing and the naked palettes came out, it was like, this is it, the only eyeshadow palette anyone ever used. I do own all 4 naked palettes and even the basics, but the 2 that I want to talk about that YouTube really influenced me to buy were the original naked palette and the Naked 3. First, I'm going to start off with the original naked palette by Urban Decay. This thing was like everyone's baby, and it's really funny because I got this after the hype died down. I want to say I got this literally like the beginning of 2015, and when did this come out? Like 2010 or something crazy like that. This is kind of more like the bronzy gold warm tone naked palette. You guys probably all know what this looks like. This is my second favorite naked palette. I like the smoky one the best, but this one comes right after it. I really love the colors in here. I love the blendability. I love the pigmentation. Again, it's just not something that I reach for that frequently anymore because so many eyeshadow palettes have come out, but I do not regret owning this at all. As time goes on, I do have to say I use my naked palettes less, but they're just something that a collector like needs to have in their collection. They're kind of like that OG eyeshadow palette, and I feel like my collection wouldn't be complete without all of them. So here's some of the swatches. Again, I feel like some of the shadows are a little chalky and don't blend as well as I want them to, but most of them have beautiful pigmentation. Here are a few swatches of them on my hand right here. As you can see, the matte was nice and smooth, and these two shimmery shades are beautiful and nice and wet looking in metallics. Again, I think the Naked palettes are just a staple, and I really love having this to display. And also, I have to say, I really think I prefer the packaging of this one out of all of the Naked palettes that have come out. It's just super soft and sleek, and I just really like the way it feels. So again, YouTube totally made me buy the Naked palette, but I love this thing a lot. And by the way, I want to say that I didn't purchase the Naked one and this Naked 3 one by myself. They were gifted to me, but I felt I should include them in this video because they were something that I asked for like so much over and over again, and I got them for birthday and Christmas. This is the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. Like, I don't like this that much, you guys. I know that's probably a shock to a lot of people because everyone was diehard for the Naked 3 palette, and I have to say, I totally was at first too. I fell into the hype of that beautiful mauve pink rose gold color palette, which to the eye, this is stunning. The packaging is stunning. Even the outside with the gold and the rose gold and like the ridges in it, stunning. The colors in here, but these shadows are 100% a disappointment to me. When I first got this, and again, before I was into eyeshadow, this was like a godsend. I was using this all the time. I was like, this is so good. So many YouTubers love this. I look exactly like those YouTubers now with my Naked 3, but the more I got into eyeshadow, I was like, this isn't that good. Do you know what I mean? Like, I use the crap out of this because I felt like it was the thing to do in the beauty community, but I really don't like this anymore. I hang on to it again for collector's purposes and because it was a gift. Finger swatches, they're not bad, but you can't really rely on finger swatches with some of these eyeshadows. Like, I don't know, I can barely see some of those swatches on my hand right there, and with a brush, forget it. They don't blend. Some of them don't even show up. I don't know why, because the first Naked palette, the second, and the fourth are so amazing. I regret it in a sense because I don't use it, and I really do think it's kind of bad, but at the same time, I don't regret it because it's just a collector thing in me. I love having it to look at and displaying it in my collection. So this isn't necessarily an eyeshadow palette, but they are still eyeshadows I want to talk about, and they are the Makeup Geek eyeshadows. These are the shadows that I own from Makeup Geek. I love these. These are some of the best eyeshadows on the market. These are better than MAC shadows. These are better than Urban Decay shadows, and they're so inexpensive. I believe each pan is $5 or $6, and they are so pigmented. I really, really love them because they do come in these pans, and you can just put them in an empty magnetic Z palette. The one I have is the Makeup Geek Travel Vault palette, if you guys are wondering. So I own 8 of the Makeup Geek shadows, and I do not regret them at all. Everyone on YouTube uses these and talks about these for a very, very good reason. And if you're in the market for an inexpensive, amazing eyeshadow, I recommend Makeup Geek all the way. The last eyeshadow I have to talk about that YouTube definitely made me buy is the Morphe Brushes 35O palette. Morphe is a super, super awesome, inexpensive brand. This whole palette with the 35 eyeshadows is $22. And this is what this looks like. It's just basically, if you love warm eyeshadows, this is a dream of a palette for you. This palette was so hyped up on YouTube. This was constantly sold out on morphebrushes.com. Anywhere it was sold, it could not be found. I believe it's a little better now. I believe there is more in stock since people have gotten their hand on them and the hype has died down a little bit. Pretty much like 2015, the beginning of 2016, this palette was the only palette that people used and talked about. Again, it's just filled with amazing warm eyeshadows. The pigmentation is awesome, and the shimmers in here are so creamy and smooth. Here are just a few swatches again. I think Morphe palettes as a whole were all over YouTube and were so beautiful, but this was the one that people wanted and were basically really fighting for. So here are some of the swatches. Again, super creamy, super pigmented, and I love having this in my collection. I do not regret it at all, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing more looks and playing around with these beautiful colors in the fall and winter months. Look how dirty my wipe is after cleaning all those swatches. That's so gross. I have 2 eye bases that were definitely influenced by YouTube. The first one is the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I feel like back in the day, it was either Urban Decay Eye Primer Potion, which YouTube did influence me to buy as well, but I just don't have one anymore because I found other primers that I like better. This just really cancels out all the color, all the redness, all the veins. Once I set this, keeps my eyeshadows in place all day. So I really love my Soft Ochre Paint Pot, and I'm so happy that YouTube introduced me to this. Good. This is the NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in the shade Milk. Years back, this was literally like an amazing eye base. People use this as eyeliner all over their lid, on their inner corner, whatever. Even nowadays, so many people still use this on YouTube because I just think it's so good. It's just a very creamy white, basically like It's really just an eyeshadow and a pencil. It's like a jumbo liner. I have used this on my waterline before, but I'll do like a live swatch for you guys so you guys can see how creamy this is. It is super creamy, super pigmented, and super inexpensive. Everyone on YouTube loves this, and it is for a good reason. The next product that was 1000% definitely influenced by a YouTuber is the Nivea Men Post Shave Balm Insensitive. As you guys probably know, Nikki Tutorials totally started this trend, and everyone thought it was just like so weird and crazy. They were like, what? Everyone had to try it for themselves, and everyone fell in love with it, including me. This keeps my foundation on so amazing, even though I have to say lately I've been seeing things going around saying that since this isn't made to be like under your makeup and on your face like that for so long, it can tend to clog your pores. But I just love this so much, especially having oily skin. Once you pat it in your face, it has that really tacky feeling, and it just literally, my foundation like sticks to it so well. It stays on all day, but I really do like this. And this was probably like the big daddy of YouTube Made Me Buy It products because everyone was going crazy over this, and I'm so happy that I gave it a shot. Another product that a YouTuber totally influenced me to buy and totally made this product sell out everywhere was the RCMA No Color Powder. I believe it was like 6 months ago or something like that, Kathleen Lights mentioned this on her channel, and people were going crazy over it. It was sold out everywhere. So I really wanted to get my hands on it. It is such a big jar for inexpensive. This comes with 3 ounces of loose powder for $12, which I think is absolutely amazing. Like, I'm never gonna use all this up. Because of the packaging, I don't find myself using it as often, but I do like this on clients. It smooths out the face, and it doesn't give a really bad flashback or anything like that. And again, it's really good for all skin tones as well. The more I use it, I still like it, but I don't love it anymore. It doesn't control my oils nearly as well as something like my Laura Mercier. I'm really glad that YouTube brought this to my attention again, just for the purpose of my freelance kit, even though I don't reach for this that much myself. And this is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. I remember when like the Anastasia contour palette was like the thing, and then when this came out, I feel like everyone completely dropped their Anastasia contour palette for this bad boy. So again, this is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette, and this is just so beautiful. I love the way the packaging feels. It is so big, but I love that. I love the packaging, the art on the front of the packaging, how Kat Von D designed it, everything. But most importantly, the product on the inside is bomb. As you guys can see, I hit major pan on these 2 light shades. They're so creamy, so pigmented. I absolutely love setting my eyelid with those 2 shades combined. If you're a beginner, I would definitely be a little careful with this, because when I first had tried this compared to my Anastasia one, I had like a stripe of contour on my face. You really have to know to be a little more heavy-handed, because these are not like dry powders by any means. I love this contour palette, and it's definitely the one I reach for over all of my other ones, and I'm really glad that YouTube brought this to my attention and made me buy it. An oldie but a goodie that I've been loving recently is the NYC Sunny Bronzer. I probably only got this like a month ago, but I remember seeing this on YouTube when I was like 11 or 12, like I said, people using this. This is, again, the NYC Smooth Skin Bronzer in the shade Sunny. They recently did just revamp the packaging, and I heard the formula is a little bit different than it used to be, but it's even better. This is just the most beautiful bronzer ever. It's just like that perfect shade, and I've been reaching for this so much more than my Chocolate Soleil. As you can see, it has that nice warmth to it, but it's not orangey, which I absolutely love. I love just putting this all over my face with a big dual fiber stippling brush, and it just adds the most beautiful warmth and bronziness to my face. So again, this has been around on YouTube forever, and if you haven't fallen into the hype yet, I highly recommend you do, because it is there for a reason. This bronzer is amazing. I have 2 highlighting products that I want to talk about that YouTube made me buy. The first one is the Sleek Makeup Solstice highlighter palette. This is so good, you guys. I think I've seen Jacqueline and Manny talk about this the most, but it's just so stunning. The colors in here are so stunning, and the highlighters are so metallic. You guys know I'm a highlighter junkie, and it took me a long time to get my hands on this because Sleek wasn't shipping to the United States anymore. Something with like the FDA, one of the ingredients in it wasn't allowed to come to the United States, but I'm pretty sure they reformulated it because I was able to get this shipped to me in the United States. But these are the swatches. I did dig in there a little extra so you guys can see, but once these are applied to the face, they apply so beautifully and so much better than a finger swatch. They're just so wet and metallic and shiny. When it catches the light, it's just like bam, highlight, which you guys know I really love. So I've really grown to love this palette. I love the packaging. It's absolutely beautiful, and I definitely don't regret buying this at all. I love that people on YouTube bring hype to such hidden gem and like smaller brand products, and I'm super happy to have this in my collection. The next highlighter you guys can probably guess, because I feel like everyone includes this in their YouTube Made Me Buy It video. This is Champagne Pop by Becca and Jaclyn Hill. This is what it looks like. It's just a super peachy, light, amazing highlight that works on all skin tones. I do have this really heavily packed on my cheeks today, paired with the lighter shade in that Solstice highlighter palette. I love having this in my collection. Again, it's kind of just one of those staples, but I use this all the time. I feel like it works with so many different looks, and it's kind of one of my go-to highlighters. Lastly, I have one lip product that YouTube made me buy, and they are the ColourPop Ultra Matte Lips. When ColourPop first came out, people were going crazy for their ultra matte lips, and I feel like people are still going crazy for their other products now and not really talking too much about their ultra matte lips anymore. But there was a point on YouTube when I would watch a tutorial and I was like, what lip color was that? And I would read the description. It was always ColourPop Ultra Matte Lip. They are a drying liquid lipstick. They are, but they stay on for so long. I don't really have a problem with the newer formula like crumbling or creasing that much. I do have to say that the original Ultra Matte Lip kind of cracked and crumbled off my lips, but the newer ones aren't like that at all. So I'm just going to swatch a few of them for you guys. So these are some of the ultra mattes that I own. This one's LAX. It's a really deep kind of vampy red. Tool is my all-time favorite liquid lipstick shade besides Dusty Rose by Anastasia. It's kind of like a beautiful red brown kind of brick color with a hint of mauve. And then the last one is Midi. It's one of my favorite nudes. It's kind of just like that perfect mid-tone pinky nude right there. But I definitely don't regret that YouTube made me buy these. They're so affordable and come in so many different colors. And I know there's a color in my ColourPop collection somewhere that'll work for no matter what look I'm doing. Alright guys, so that concludes my YouTube made me buy it video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all the products that YouTube has influenced me to buy and all of the products I really think were like cult YouTube favorites at one point. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!